All right, guys, it's post Atlanta episode, the Burnout, Atlanta 1, I should say. My co host, Mr. Drew, here, and I'm Drew, by the way, I was actually at the race. He attended it today. So let's go ahead and get a report from you on the race as it was in person. But first, where you at on the road?
I am ripping, well, for legal purposes, I'm going 70 in quotation marks down I-20, but I have shaved 30 minutes off my arrival time back to Myrtle Beach. So do with that as you want. Um,
Are you in
actually,
Georgia or South Carolina?
South Carolina,
Okay.
um, probably about 20 miles out of West Columbia at this point.
Okay.
Actually, if it's okay with you, Drew, I wouldn't mind. I kind of want to go the opposite. And this is something I've been kind of sitting on since I left. Tell me your opinions from watching on TV.
Okay, I'll go step by step. Stage one, unfolded exactly how I figured it would, with just a bunch of single file racing. Stage two then turned into a little bit of a cluster, you know what, because of the pit road stuff going on, um, and it was just single file. And then the second pack caused the three wide, which was entertaining. But then the third stage was good. It felt like a typical Talladega race or Daytona race to me towards the end, where you're on pins and needles on the edge of the seat for the final 20 laps, just waiting to see what's going to happen. I thought the finish, even though there was a pass on the last lap, was a little lackluster just because once Logano got by, I just feel like there's not enough room. It's not big enough to, you know, charge a comeback. Once it's over, it's over. It happened last year in the summer race too with Elliott. When he got by LaJoy, it was just, if you're not beside the guy coming out of turn two, there's just no time. Whereas Talladega Daytona, you can wait till the front stretch, or especially Talladega. I mean, yeah, the front stretch Talladega. Um, I don't know. I'm really, really, really happy they dropped it to 400 miles instead of 500. 500 was brutal last year. I thought this race was good. I'd like to see it drop another 60 laps. I think 200 would be fine. That's how I feel about it, though.
Now, I'm on the opposite scale. Well, I think to 400 is perfect for this race. Absolutely perfect. With that being said, unless it's Atlanta or not Atlanta, unless it's Loudon or a road course, I don't ever want to see a race under 400 miles. Or, I mean, Bristol isn't 500 miles. It's, was it 500 kilometers or 500?
Laps.
Obviously, it's like, I think 250
250
miles.
miles.
Yeah. Outside of those, I don't want to see a race under 400. But that being said, I think this race would have been an absolute snooze fest had it been had it been a 500-mile race. I've said it every time we've got on here, Drew. 100%. I've said it every single time. Being at the race, I think it was a 10 times better experience than what it was on TV. And just, even when they were single file, watching guys out there manage their fuel, trying to do their best to not make that green flag pit stop, um, going out there and racing, managing gaps, guys trying to get runs going, and that bottom lane is, top dominant race. Reminded me a lot of a Kansas-esque race from that standpoint. Um, the top being so dominant, but just watching guys try to get those runs going, I feel like TV didn't capture that from reading what I saw on Twitter. I feel like it was just not as good of an experience on TV as it was in
Well,
person. And I feel like that's nine times the exception of, I mean, I've never been to Texas, never been to Phoenix, been to Richmond. I can say that that's probably the case for most, if not all, racetracks. I don't know if that's necessarily a Fox problem or that's just a TV problem in general. But personally, I feel like it was a really daggone good race. Well,
yeah, no, I definitely think stage three was a really good race, but I guess what I'm saying is, and I don't know, I'm going to argue a little bit here. I about the length of the race. I think that the first 2 stages were just logging laps, and I think the bottom was not there was nothing wrong with the bottom lane. It was just that the drivers did not want to race because there was nothing to race for. And I think shorten it an additional 60 laps to 200 laps. I mean, you're just getting rid of a lot. You're just trimming the fat. It's still going to taste the same. It's still going to be a good finish, but you're just getting rid of some of the wasted laps, wasted time. The first 150 laps of the race today was just a bunch of follow the leader. I don't know, but I guess the strategy did come into play surprisingly in stage two because I expected a bunch of cautions after the first two races, so that was entertaining. Um, but I don't know. I just hate the follow the leader nonsense. I really do.
Well, to counter that, and I think it's definitely a track problem. It was so freaking hard to get rolling on the bottom. Um, with when there were two lines, and I mean you could see it. It didn't matter if there were um, five cars, six cars on the bottom. They were always going to go back. I mean, you could see Larson. Every time he would jump out, he would get one or two guys to go with him, and he would drop 4 or 5 spots just because the bottom had absolutely no momentum at all. And I don't know if it's a track problem. I don't know if it's a car problem. I'm leaning towards more of a car problem. I just, I don't know. We've got to fix that at our plate race. This doesn't really seem, I mean, this obviously is a plate race, but super speedway style race. It just seems like it's just so hard to pass and so hard to, go forward. Momentum means so much, and track position means so much. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, I
And
do.
and I feel like it's just I don't know the days of like slingshotting somebody are gone. I mean, we saw it happen once. I think Blaney hit an epic slingshot on Kyle Busch. I think it was the second stage, and it was freaking awesome. And outside of that, there really wasn't too much of that, as opposed to something that we've seen in years past. But I think
Yeah.
it more or less may be a car problem at this point, not necessarily a Atlanta problem. But that being said, I'm a little nervous of how this race is going to be under the lights in July. But I mean, we'll cross that bridge when we get there.
How cold was it?
Uh that I'm actually going to get into that a little bit later. I would like to. Well, I'll go ahead and take a sneak peek of the buy and sell segment. I would like to buy hot hands. Hot hands are amazing, and they definitely played a factor in me surviving that race today. It was pretty daggone cold. Um, for the last, literally, it was the last 10 laps. Where I was sitting, I was in row 62 and section 238. The sun finally hit the stands under the canopy and warmed things up a little bit. But all in all, it was pretty cold the whole way through. Pretty windy, so I know that played a bit of a factor in the cars handling a little bit. But um, yeah, overall pretty cold.
Were you colder there or at Richmond?
Richmond was 10 times out of 10 colder.
Really?
I was wearing
I guess it probably was the wind that day. It was whipping that day.
yeah, the wind wasn't bad. It came in gusts. I was wearing 3 shirts. I was wearing my RCR hoodie.
Oh, you were
I was
prepared.
wearing a long sleeve flannel shirt and a short sleeve Dale Earnhardt shirt under that. So I was, definitely layered up. And um, yeah, it was. If it was windy consistently, it would have been an issue. But it was just a little gusty every now and then. But yeah, it was pretty cold, I will say.
I,
But it was just cold, not windy.
and how do the cars when they go by? How much faster do they appear than they do at Daytona or Talladega?
They really didn't seem all that fast, to be honest with you, man. And
Okay.
I remember telling you when I went to Talladega the first time that those cars look like they crawl when they go
Right.
by
I figured they'd
by you.
look a little faster though, because the track's smaller, but I guess not.
I mean, I wouldn't say they look. I wouldn't say they look slow, but I wouldn't say they look fast by any means. Now I'm sure I was a little bit ways up if I was down there in the lower section or right there on top. I'm sure they were flying by. But with that being said, I don't know. I feel like they were probably going faster at Daytona or Talladega, obviously, because even though it is a super speedway style race now, I mean they're still lifting in the corners and they're still having to play with their brakes, so they're not all out the same way they would be at another super speedway like Talladega or Daytona.
Right.
But yeah, let's get into this weekend though. It was interesting to say at least. To start off with the truck race. How'd you feel about the truck race?
Disaster.
Yeah, honestly, man, that was right up there with the truck race at Bristol in 2021.
Or that race
When
at
I went,
Knoxville. The first time they went to Knoxville. Yes.
yeah, it was chaotic. I mean, it was long, man. Like it was drawn
Oh, I
out. It
know.
was just
I I
I
went
felt
I went and ran a couple errands during the race and put it on the radio, and the entire time I was gone, they didn't complete a green flag lap.
yeah, it was bad, man. I felt like there was a stretch where there was like, yeah,
I think
it was bad.
there are two cautions during that period where there was no they didn't complete a lap. The caution come out immediately. Like one time I think they got on the back stretch, another one they didn't even get to turn one before the yellow was back out.
Yeah, it reminded me of you ever seen that Family Guy? We might get canceled for me saying this, but that Asian NASCAR thing on Family Guy, that cutaway,
Nope.
they wreck. They did the green flag. They literally wreck like 100 feet spread the start and finish line, and all get out and start yelling at each other. And that's pretty much what it was, what it felt like. Um, that being said, I think of bad was just all the drawn out, like just the length of it. And I don't think it's necessarily a race length issue. I just think it's more or less of a chaos issue and like a respect issue in that series.
Well, stage two of the Xfinity race was largely the same. That was crazy too. But I
Well,
will,
we'll get to that.
yes, we'll get
We'll
to
get to
that
that
in
in
a
a
minute
second.
because a legend was born.
Yeah, yeah. I would like to show the buy and sell segment. I've got 45 million buys and a couple sells this week. Um, I'm not gonna lie, I'm kind of disappointed in KBM. Um, this year. Not exactly stoked about our driver lineup. That
Yeah,
51
the
All
driver
Star
lineup
truck.
is pitiful.
So I eventually I kind of scanned around. I'm pretty big in listening to radio while I'm at the races. I ended up following Nick Sanchez, and I know I texted you about it last night, but I listened to Stockman and Nealon absolutely just literally drive that car from the top of the pit box and the top of the spotter stand and put Nick Sanchez in a position to win that race at the end. He was one missed block away from getting there, or one missed time block away from getting there. But I mean, kudos to Denny Stockman and Derek Nealon for just absolutely putting him in a position to win. I think Stockman's really helped Chandler Smith out find a success last year, and I feel like Sanchez definitely has a long way to go. But I feel like stopping being on top of that pit box is definitely the right direction for him and his development, and that program as a whole. Um, with that being said, man, I said decent race, not anything great. I just felt like the chaos just kind of, and we do love chaos. Don't get us wrong, but
Yes, we do
limited
love
amounts of
chaos,
it.
but it has to be in spurts. It can't all just be at one time.
Yeah, and it all came at one time, but I mean, it is what it is. Any final thoughts on that truck race from your end?
Well, I think no, it's basically what you said, and I think Sanchez won the amateurs racing cars in America championship last year, so he's got some talent, I assume. But yep, the only thing that could have been worse than that truck race have been the amateurs racing cars in America at that track.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie. It's always fun watching an ARCA race, just with the chaos. I mean, eventually you get tired of it, but I mean, there ain't nothing like watching them wreck lap after lap after lap. I mean, it's definitely interesting. But yeah, moving on to that Xfinity race. Josh Williams, I might have to
Legend
go
of the
buy a
Earth.
T-shirt. That was honestly one of the best things I think I've ever seen in my life
Me too.
at a racetrack. I mean, I really thought that that fight that we saw at Florence
Mhm.
a couple years ago was going to be the greatest thing I've ever seen, but no, I've never. And people were comparing it to Kyle Busch parking his car at Darlington on pit road, but that man just took it to a
No,
whole nother
that
level, a
incomparable to that.
whole nother level.
Yes.
Um, so at first, like I thought he just like I thought he lost power. I don't know what was going on. I don't know if he like what happened. And I just sit there and look, and I saw him jumping out the car, and I'm like, huh. There's no like safety trucks or anything coming to him. And then I see him turn around, and I thought for sure he was. I thought it looked like he was flipping off the tower. After I swear I thought he was flipping off the tower. Come to turn out, he was giving the peace sign and everything, but just walks over and just doesn't give a f meter. Is absolutely pegged. I mean, I've never seen anything like that in my life. That is the coolest thing I've ever seen at a racetrack, and I don't
Yes.
think I'm ever going to see anything like that
And just
ever again.
according to his Twitter, he's gonna have a shirt drop on Monday. You need to see what that's all about. It might be a must buy. Might be the hottest ticket of 2023.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna have to cop one. Something I like to see, uh, something I don't know what to do when something like that happens. And I did it. Who won the ARCA race at Daytona?
I don't Greg Van Alst.
Yeah, when Van Ellis won that race, and he gave that interview. I gave him a follow on Twitter, and I constantly checked in every like 5 minutes just to see his like profile grow. And that's where he gained over like 1,000 followers that day. And I wish I would have like had the mind to do it at the time, but I promise you, Josh Williams gained some notoriety and some fans and some followers
Oh
on
yeah,
all forms of social media.
he's gonna be on the door bumper clear this week. He should be on Hamlin's show though. That's where he should be.
Oh, he is on door bumper clear. That's pretty cool. That yeah. I mean that's still. I was at a loss for. I'm still kind of at a loss for words as to like that's crazy. I don't think we'll ever see anything like that again. I mean, the only thing I can like remotely compare this to is Robbie Gordon at Watkins Glen a long, 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 long time ago. But I
Yes.
still think this might take the cake over that.
Yes. Yeah, I would say it's about doing burnouts when you didn't win the race and stopping on the start finish line. Pretty comparable. I do like this one better though, because at least he didn't act like a spoiled brat. He had a. I mean, honestly, he had a. I think he's in the right in this situation, so I feel bad for him. Robbie, I, I respect Robbie, and and it was fun what he did, but I mean, he was acting like a brat. So I like this one better.
Well, get on to the less drama-filled portion of the Xfinity Series race. Another bye, and I hit the nail on the head with this one. Austin Hill, man, is Austin Hill just that good?
Austin Hill is just that good. I'm buying Austin Hill as well. And I also want to say I'm going to buy Josh Williams because as long as NASCAR doesn't ban him or something, I think his opportunities are going to go up because of what he did. So I'm going to buy Austin Hill and Josh Williams.
Yeah, it goes back to what we talked about a couple weeks ago.
And
Might have been last week. Being marketable and being able to have a brand out there. I mean, regardless of good or bad press. I mean, people were talking about that. I think it was a staffing agency he had on his hood, and he's definitely getting a lot of attention. They're definitely getting a lot of views and a lot of
mhm,
notoriety. So hopefully more comes to it and doesn't turn into a Brandon Brown type situation where it's
right,
negative
right.
publicity. But
I'm,
yeah, let me ask you this: do you think Austin Hill was just that good? Has always been this good? Or do you think this is a case of Gregson and Ty Gibbs being out of the series and allowing more
no,
cars to
I
win?
don't. I don't think that's why. I think he's always been that good. And you kind of look at the trucks. I mean, look at what Brett Moffitt's doing in the 25 car. I mean, that car's not good, but he's doing well in it. And what I mentioned that is because Brett Moffitt won a championship in the Hattori 16. Okay, Austin Hill almost won a championship in the Hattori 16. Okay, so both of them had very comparable runs. Austin Hill is in better equipment than Moffitt now, so of course he's going to outrun him. Now look at the Hattori 16 in trucks. It doesn't even make the playoffs. So I think that they both have real talent. And I think Austin Hill has been able to capitalize on it because of RCR. And I think it just being his second year, it's really helping him out. I think it Gibbs, I mean, the Gibbs car was set up, but I mean, it was the top tier JGR equipment. So I guess that does make a difference. Gragson, that was his third year. It took 3 years to be dominant. So, I really think he's just that good.
Now, let me ask you this. Is he ready for the next level?
No, look at Gregson this year. I mean, he's making Ty Dillon look good last year, and that's hard to do.
Yeah. Now, when that time does come, do you think RCR potentially expands to a third or back to a three-car team?
It's really hard to say.
I mean, the whole charter system, I think it's going to be interesting. I really don't want to see him get pushed like a. I mean, Grayson was around for quite a bit, but I think a Harrison Burton is
Oh
a
my
perfect
God.
example of being pushed way too hard, way too fast.
Yes.
I think he's on his last strike. He honestly might have already struck out, but
Yes.
I would like to see him do at least another year or two in Xfinity and have a.
Todd Gillen, too, by the way.
No, he can stay in his motorhome.
I'm saying it's a known fact he struck out already. He's done after this season. So,
Well, he can go sit in his motorhome at his house. I like to see him get another year or two in Xfinity, continue to win, continue to do what he's doing. I mean, he's obviously a proven talent, and I'd like to see him get up there and be that third RCR entry here in a couple of years.
I would too.
In the Cup Series. I definitely don't want to see him get poached away.
Right.
Like you've seen guys happen in the past, especially. It feels like it's a Toyota thing more than anything else. Guys getting poached away, going to other programs. You look at Harrison Burton going over to the Wood Brothers. You look at Chandler Smith with Colleague. Hell, Kyle Busch on his own accord. But I mean, you just look at things like that. Brandon Jones going over with the junior cars. You just,
Right.
I don't know, man. Hopefully, he stays in that Chevrolet camp and stays with that RCR camp. I feel like that's something to build off of. And with that being said, that's definitely got to put Sheldon Creed. He's got to have his head on the swivel now, man. You never want to be underperforming in good equipment, but you never want to be getting your ass kicked by your teammate. And right now, I
True.
mean, he's just trying to get his ass kicked. Like
True.
no sugarcoating that at all.
Nope.
Do you think his driving style was just more suited for trucks, or just
Yeah.
just not? I don't think he's a bad driver. I don't, but I mean, he is just not running well at
Right.
all.
Right. It may be.
And
He kind of reminds me of a Ross Chastain driving wise, but I mean, I don't know. I'm at a loss for that
yeah, I mean, my
because I expected him to
expectations
outrun
were.
Hill, but
Yeah, I mean, I did too, in all honesty, but I kind of decided last year that Austin was going to be my guy this year. With Kyle Busch leaving Toyota, and I was trying to find somebody in that RCR program, and it seems like I definitely picked the right one. Who did he fight last year at? He fought somebody last year. Was it at Martinsville at the fall race?
I don't recall. I do remember it, but I do not recall who he fought.
I said from that point on,
Yeah, he
that's my
punched
guy.
somebody. Myatt Snyder, I think it was.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, at Martinsville, and I said, "Yep, that's my guy." And it appears that I've rolled with the right guy this year.
Remember, Myatt
So
Snyder was in the 2 car before Sheldon Creed, and also he actually did win a race. Never mind, I was gonna say he did nothing, but they did win a race.
yeah, man, he's definitely got to step up and definitely got to figure some things out. I don't know if it's a Sheldon Creed problem or if it's a two-team problem or what it is. But I mean, he's just flat out getting beat right now, and that's definitely not where you want to be in any form of racing or any form of competition.
Yep.
So let's move on to the Cup race, and I'm going to sell another thing. I'm going to sell Ross Chastain. I am so sick and tired of Ross Chastain. So and tired of Ross Chastain. This dude, it is literally Joe Logano, but he drives a Chevrolet. And he says sorry every now and then. There is no difference in him or Logano. But for whatever reason, people love Ross Chastain,
Yeah, I think he adds a
and
lot
they
of entertainment
hate.
value to the race.
Hey, he creates chaos. He's just a freaking what do they call it? A battering ram. I mean, I still don't know if he made contact with Harvick or not. I'm going to assume that he did the way that things
They
shook out.
claim no, but I mean, it looked like he did.
I mean, I'll look at like it's like I don't have the stat to prove this, but it seems like every single race he is involved in an incident of some form of another. Does it not?
No, he is normally, but I think that adds to the chaos, the entertainment factor. So I'll buy some Ross Chastain. Give me some. Give me a stock.
Now I know you're not going to hate that I'm saying
You're going robot mode again.
to like it's so hard and it's such a gray area. And the last thing we needed to do was cause more gray area, more room for interpretation. Um, the FIA has something where if you accumulate a certain amount of like penalty points or a certain amount of points, you get suspended for a race or two. It's getting to that point. I mean, you can make an argument that his stuff, that what Ross is
Oh,
doing isn't
please. Kyle
intentional,
Busch would be
but
suspended
intentional
for
or
speeding on pit
unintentional,
road.
not this year, happened once.
I can think of 2 or 3 times.
I'm talking about like racing incidents. Like it's bad, man. Like it doesn't matter if it's intentional or unintentional. At some point, you got to lift, and there is just no lift with Ross Chastain. And eventually, he's going to do it to the wrong person. I don't think Denny Hamlin's going to get him back. Apparently, he already did in quotation marks. I'm giving the quotation marks in my
Right,
hand right
that was
now.
a weak comeback, if so.
But somebody has got the Matt Kens of that Joker. And I mean, put him in the wall, and like I'm so tired of Ross Chastain. And it's not even funny. Anyway, on to the Cup race. We already touched on it a little bit. A little bit of chaos, a little bit of nothingness. Overall, not a bad race. I wasn't on the edge of my seat the whole time, like I said. But it had just enough action to keep me engaged, and like I said, I feel like the experience in person was 10 times better than what it was on TV.
I,
And
I'll
like I
say
said,
something here that's maybe controversial, but I still preferred today over another race at the old track that is so good racing because the tires wear out because the track was paved before we were born. Um, I'm sorry, but that was terrible. Today, at least, was pretty. I mean, the stage 3 was great. So I enjoyed it better.
yeah, I thought the NASCAR died with Del Crowd is not going to lie that one bit, but I can agree. And for somebody that's seen both ends of that, I mean, I've seen it when it was at its absolute best in terms of wear and tear. I mean, the last race there, personally, I don't think it was all that. I mean, the history is obviously awesome, but I feel like in terms of excitement and action,
Yeah, I mean, they had
excuse me,
races in 92, 01, 2000 and what, and then 2006, and then Gordon and Johnson in 11, or I mean that was 2011. But after that, I mean, there was nothing. I mean, it was Harvick winning by multiple seconds. I mean, like 6, 7, 8 seconds sometimes. I mean, it just wasn't. It lost its luster.
yeah, I feel like it's definitely what Atlanta of needed, and it's not a bad venue at all. It's actually one of my buys. It's probably one of my favorite venues that I go to in terms of going to races. But it definitely needed a facelift. It needed something on the track, just improve the racing. And I feel like people hate it. A lot of the drivers hate it, but I mean it's entertaining. And at the end of the day, the fans are what makes the sport go around. Between sponsorships and everything, and fans are happy. NASCAR is going to be happy. So at the end of the day, it really doesn't matter what the drivers think.
Yep.
But yeah, okay, race. I give it. I looked at I looked at Jeff Gluck's poll. It was a poll on a YouTube, a YouTube poll, and was Atlanta a good race, or what kind of race was Atlanta? It had great, good, average, below average, bad, and good and average were about even. It was like 47, 40, and like 3 great and like 10 bad. Whatever. It was pretty spread out in terms of the other, but I was a general consensus of the race. I mean, it was people were going to say it's average just because of the training or the train for the first 2 stages, or the beginning of the second stage and the first stage. But I thought the end is, I mean, it really wasn't chaotic by any means. It kind of brought it back a little bit. Um, with that being said, I feel like TV probably hampered it, and I'm really interested to see what it looked like on TV. I'm probably not going to sit there and watch the whole race in its entirety, but watch the highlights and see how they were captured as opposed to being there. Um, but yeah, overall, not a bad day. Not bad at all.
True. I agree.
All right, you ready to move on to the buy and sell?
Yep. What are your buys? What are your sells? Give them to me.
I'm gonna let you go first. I've got like 45 million of them jokers.
Okay.
Let's go and do our buys first.
All right. I'm going to buy Austin Hill. I'm going to buy Josh Williams. I'm going to buy Atlanta as a super speedway. I'm going to buy um well, I guess that's all buys I have at the moment I can think of. I'm going to sell. No, you said not sell. Okay, those are my buys. I feel like I've already kind of explained why I'm buying all of those. So um yeah, those are my three buys. I can't really think of another one right now. Because it's just kind of a. I'm going to buy Corey LaJoy too. How about that? Fourth place finish, still 16th in points. It's been 5 races. He's still theoretically. I mean, well, he still is qualifying for the chase right now. Oh, and I'm also going to buy RFK. I think that Keselowski's definitely going to win races here.
Yeah, I can see and they look really good at the plate tracks, but I mean they haven't looked bad at the intermediates either. So it'll be interesting to see how RFK does as a whole. Even Buescher having that win last year, it'll be good to see Keselowski go out and win when he finally does. He's definitely on a what is it? How many races is it now? 60 something?
66, they said.
Yeah, not good. Um, yeah, are those your buys?
Yep, those are my buys. And I also just want to say I was watching the end of the Martinsville race from the fall, the Hail Melon, and Keselowski really honestly should have won that race. So when we go to Martinsville, that might be the place.
So my buys, I've got quite a bit of them. Obviously, want to buy Danny Stockman and Derek Nealon, coach Nick Sanchez. I'm going to buy Austin Hill. I'm going to buy Atlanta Motor Speedway as a whole. Um, really good, awesome facility, pretty good racing. I'm going to buy Josh Williams, obviously. Um, gonna buy Steak and Shake. Steak and Shake is great. Um, gonna buy. There was one more I really specifically wanted to remember, but I can't remember what it was. I can't remember what it was. It must not have been too important. On to the sales. What are you thinking in terms of sales this week?
I'm going to sell NASCAR's damaged vehicle policy. I'm going to
NASCAR is
sell
great.
uh, Harrison Burton and the Wood Brothers. I'm going to sell.
Mm,
Um, hmm, you'd think I would know my sales when I was just had a moment or two to think about it. Um, I'm going to sell that awful pit road. I mean, you're. I understand having the commitment line, but should we really be going 45 miles an hour when cars are going 180 beside you on the left side? That's kind of a safety hazard. Build a wall or something. Um, if you're going to do that, or just have a commitment line and then have a second commitment line when you have to be down to pit road speeds, like run to apron, maybe run at like 90. You don't necessarily need to be at 45. So I'm going to sell that too. I was not impressed with that at all.
yeah, it was very. I mean, the only thing I think that we have similar to that is like Martinsville, and I don't even think that Martinsville is even that bad in terms of going. I think 3 laps down. I mean, the time in the scoring was all screwed up through all that. What was it? 3 laps average you lost on pit
Two,
road? 2 laps. Still, that's absolutely insane.
yes.
That's like, I mean,
And what if like
the
Bubba
only
when
thing I can
the
think about close to that, besides Martinsville, is Bristol because they make you go down.
both pit
If you're
roads, but that's
pitting on the,
only under caution under green. If but we'll never have green flag pit stops at Bristol again because of stages. But if it's under
yeah,
green, you just go on your pit road.
yeah, um, yeah, that is true. But yeah, it's I don't know. I feel like they could have done a little bit better. I didn't see an
Yeah,
issue
they
last year.
either need to build a wall and keep them at 45, which I think would be stupid, or you just don't make it pit road speed until you actually get to pit road. I understand you want them under the apron, and that's all well and good. That's fine, but you can go 90 probably. I assume. I mean, they do it coming off the pit road. You don't have to be at 45. That's a little ridiculous.
Yeah, NASCAR has their reasons, I'm sure, but it'll be interesting to see if that comes back for the summer race.
Nah, it probably SMI. I mean, NASCAR sanctions it, so it's their final say. But Uh, I mean, I don't know. I'm gonna sell PRN too. I didn't listen to much of it, but that's just typically what I want to do. So I'm gonna say that too.
Uh huh. What else you got in terms of sales? You got anything else in terms of sales?
No, I think I nothing's popping up this week. It was just a ho hum race, like a typical restrictor plate race. I felt like so, and there's nothing really crazy. The Josh Williams thing was the best thing of the weekend. But yeah,
I got some sales and strap on for this. My last buy, I forgot what I wanted to do. I was what? Okay, I got several more buys, not several more buys, I should say. And it kind of ties in with Limiter Speedway. Um, Normally when I go to a NASCAR race, and I was thinking to get to go, didn't get to go to Daytona. It's like being a damn like 10 bucks in terms of reception. But I was able to get the race today, and I had perfect reception. Like I was able to watch the Formula One race in its entirety, um, with absolutely no buffering, no nothing. And throughout the race, I was able to get on Twitter and look at what Bob or Jeff Gluck was putting on there, and it was sensational in terms of coverage. NASCAR's done a really good job, and I don't know what they did. I don't know if it was adding more towers or doing what they did, but excuse me, in terms of increasing reception, that's such a big thing for the younger generation. Um, Obviously, I'm a part of that. Being on my phone and looking at Twitter and watching streaming something before the race starts. But that's definitely a good step in the right direction. Also, in terms of watching the Formula One race, wanted to buy Max Verstappen going from P15 to second. Pretty impressive. I know you're not a big Formula One guy outside the video
Yeah,
game,
I'm going to
but still
sell
pretty
Formula
good.
One.
And also, this isn't necessarily an Atlanta Motor Speedway thing, but it's more or less the NASCAR thing. Two more buys. I want to buy Wendy's. I went by Wendy's today, and I did a mobile order, and I ordered $10 worth of food. I ordered a biggie bag, a double stack biggie bag, and ordered chicken nuggets to take into the race. And they messed up my order, and they gave me no less than $30 worth of food. I got like three French fries, like three burgers, two things of chicken nuggets, and a big ass Coke. I was sitting there at the in the parking lot of the races, giving food away left and right. So shout out Wendy's. Also, on the subject of that and NASCAR, what other sport do you take damn Wendy's into the race or into the sporting event or into the venue?
Right,
Is there
none.
any? Can you
Not that I
take
can think
Steak and
of.
Shake? Can you take Steak and Shake into Williams Brice? Can you take Wendy's into the Dean Dome? Can you take Bojangles into Brooks Stadium? No. NASCAR is awesome. That is absolutely awesome, man. The fact that you can go in there and bring a full cooler, full food, full you can bring stuff in, not have to pay an exorbitant amount of money to go and enjoy yourself and to feed your family. That's absolutely awesome. Shout out NASCAR.
On the subject of food, I'm
Um,
also going to buy KFC's Double Down sandwich minus the mayonnaise.
well, I'm gonna keep it in the food family. Moving on to the sales, I'm gonna sell Wingstop. Um, I don't know what it is. Every time I go to Charlotte, and every time I go to Atlanta, I absolutely break my neck to get to Wingstop. And both times, well, I don't say both. It'll be the third time I've had it. It just doesn't do it for me. And for whatever reason, I continuously go back. And unfortunately, I chose Wingstop over Cheddar's this weekend, which was a big mistake on my end. I was about to take Cheddar's into the race today and I'm selling for Wendy's. But yeah, man, I just not a big fan of Wingstop. Not good. Getting back to racing, getting away from food. This is a racing podcast, not a food podcast. I'm gonna sell Haley Deegan.
I would
I
do a
am.
food podcast, though.
Oh, 10 out of 10 definitely would. No change the subject from Haley. People are going to sit there and say, oh, she's better in Xfinity. Trucks aren't suited for her driving style. This, that, hoo
Well,
ha.
I'm going to defend her here for one reason only. It's a
She's actually
restrictor plate
Thorsport.
truck. It's a restrictor plate or plate truck race, whatever you want to call it. And you sold her last week, so I really I don't know what possibly could have happened this week that would make you need to have would make you have to sell her again.
She showed, she, she showed no drive to move forward. She showed no aggression. I mean, I can't clean and being there at the end and trying to pick up the scraps, as they say. Not every week's going to be a top five or a win week. But I mean, just sitting there, just riding in the backpack. Almost, I mean, there was times I saw her riding by herself, just going out and just driving in the back. I don't know, like show some
Maybe
kind of aggression,
I
show
don't
something.
know.
Like you're in a Thor sport, you're in a winning truck. I get that 13 truck has only won once since what 2019 with Johnny Sauter.
It's been a while, yeah.
One, but you're in a winning organization. You've got to do something. Ben Rhodes and Greg Effinger cannot. Well, Ben Rhodes cannot carry that organization as a whole. It's just somebody's got to step up somewhere, and I don't think it's going to be Deegan. With that being said, with marketability, she's probably going to end up advancing up to that next level. Could very well see it being SHR once Harvick gets gone, but I'm going to sell her in the trucks. I would like a bigger sample size of Xfinity besides one race. She ran well at SRX. I don't know. On
To
the
be seen as
subject
the
of,
year in amateurs racing cars in America.
I mean, I don't know, man. I don't know. I want to see
But
more.
what I guess what I'm saying is said I'm going to sell Harrison Burton, and I am going to sell him, but I mean, I probably have already sold him already once this year. I don't know. Um, but I mean, I don't know. It's a
I'm.
restrictor plate. We'll see what she does next time out. I'm giving her a pass.
Do you think she's really going to be that much better at Coda?
I have no idea. All I know is that this is not a good sample. Um, so it's kind of a
It's been
mulligan
two
to me.
years. Oh, a year and a half.
Yeah, but it's a plate restrictor plate type race.
Well, what has
Um,
she done in any of these other races to show anything promising?
Nothing, but I'm not going to sell her every week. Is what I'm saying.
Well, I don't think. Okay, I might have sold her last week. I'll probably won't sell her next week because we're at a road course. And honestly, I mean, I can
That's
imagine how
that's
big
what
of a
I'm
shit
saying
show.
is it's okay to sell her after Las Vegas or wherever because that's a track where she's ran it like 10 times at this point because they ran there twice. But I, Atlanta is just it's a different beast.
I don't know, man. Nick Sanchez went up there and did what he did and almost pulled one out. I mean, I think if Nick Sanchez can go do something, Haley can go do something, especially in a Thor Sport truck. Um, Selling Harrison Burton. I wonder who do you think replaces Harrison Burton, or do you think he's
It might
locked
be
in?
Austin Hill. And the reason why I think that I don't want to sound like a hypocrite here, but the reason why I'm selling Harrison Burton this week, whenever I'm not selling anyone else, because they get a mulligan this week, in my opinion, is because 1, 2, 3 the Penske cars ran all first two stage long. Where's Harrison Burton? Oh, he's about to get lapped. Yeah,
It is constantly, man. I mean, it's not a Penske car, but it's pretty much a Penske car.
it is, yeah, and he's literally that far off pace from the top 3 cars that he's almost a whole lap behind them. I mean, it wasn't the pit crew that got him there either. It's just
I just,
at some point when you know you have the same equipment as the top 3 cars, you should at least be in the top 15, not the top 35. I mean, something is uh, I don't know how to keep it any more simple than that. I mean, the rest of them, they even qualified top 3. Where did he qualify? He probably crashed in
uh,
qualifying.
yeah.
Somebody did.
Um,
I think it was him. I don't know.
BJ, oh, I'm gonna buy BJ McLeod save. I wasn't at the track, but I heard it. Excuse me, I heard it, and then I saw it. They were showing highlights. So BJ had probably one of the best saves of this year so far. Keep that thing off the wall during qualifying.
I'm you know
Um,
I'm gonna buy a BJ McLeod in Xfinity because Anthony Alfredo is on fire this year. He has been up
Fast
front
pasta.
3 times this year in that 78 machine. So I'm gonna buy that too. Speaking of BJ.
Yeah. Big BJ fans on this podcast. Um, yeah, man. That was solid. I'm gonna also buy Penske. I keep calling it plate racing, but Penske Super Speedway style. I mean, they absolutely for the first was it 2 stages or like stage and a half? I
Two
mean, they
stages.
controlled pretty much
It was the complete
every.
2 stages.
They controlled every aspect of it. Now, listening to Kyle Busch's radio, I can remember Derek saying, "Oh, the Penske cars got shuffled on that on the pit cycle because Blaney went through and got that speeding penalty, and it looked like his day was there. He ended up coming back, and I think he had a pretty good finish, if I recall.
Mhm.
Um, and ended up jacking everything up with them. But I mean, they controlled pretty much everything. I mean, Logano was in the captain's seat pretty much. I wouldn't say the whole day, but I mean, he was Penske as a whole looked really good, and I feel like they might have figured something out on the super speedway package that some of these other guys haven't. Maybe Ford as a whole. I'm not going to sit there and say that there's a advantage by any means, but I mean those guys look like they figured something out big time. Would you agree between them and Keselowski
Oh,
or
absolutely,
RFK?
absolutely, no question.
Even Harvick with his surge before he got Chastained. I mean, it
It's
looked
so
pretty
funny.
good.
Anytime Harvick's at the front, you're like, the big one's coming.
Yeah, I hate it. Like I
It's
remember,
been like
like that
that for
happened
like
so fast too. Like I
it's
just
really
looked
been
down for
like this
half a
since like
second.
2016.
I looked down for half a second, then I look up and like the field's just flying apart behind him. Somehow Kyle Busch gets caught up in it. But it was I hate that for he deserves more, and hopefully he gets winner soon. I mean, it's been twice this year he's been in the driver's seat for I forgot I was going with that, but that's twice now he's been the lead at a crucial part of the race and has gotten, I wouldn't say screwed, but I mean, yeah, screwed probably would be the right word for it. But one will shake out this way or hopefully here soon. Um, but looking at Coda though, man, what do you think about in terms of that? What are your expectations?
I'm excited to see how it works with no cautions. I'm excited to see how it works without Chase Elliott there to stink the show up, and I'm excited to see how it's going to be with these three ringers in the race. It's the first time in a long time where it's been more than just one. I think it's going to be fun. I'm not really looking forward to the Xfinity or the truck races there though because they haven't put on a good show yet at that track, and I don't see it happening this time. Um, but I am looking forward to the Cup race.
Yeah, I'm not as really optimistic or excited for those ringers. I mean, there's just such a difference
Yeah, but
in
I'm really looking.
IndyCar and F1. I
I'm
mean,
looking forward to
the days
Jordan
of
Taylor
Boris
just because we
Said
know
and
that nine
Marcus
car can do.
Ambrose. Go ahead.
I'm really looking forward to Jordan Taylor because we know what that nine car can do. So I would really like to see an upset.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, man. I just feel like there's just such a difference. I mean, Kimi Räikkönen coming in and doing what he does, but as accomplished as he is, and coming in and not even being able to run top 10, that speaks to just how hard these cars are to drive when you're used to something like a Formula One car or an Indy car. Um, just completely different, or even any other style of racing. I just don't think they're going to be that much of a factor. I think it's going to be somebody consistent. I'd say like but you hate to say it, like a Ross Chastain or a Kyle Larson going out there and absolutely getting into it, or
If
heck, even a
Hey, speaking of Larson, if he doesn't win, he's going to be in trouble making the playoffs this year. He's still behind Elliott in points.
I don't
They're
know. Man, I
both
feel
behind
like
Cody Ware.
yeah. I mean, I'm
They
really
are beating
interested to
Ty
see what
Dillon though.
NASCAR. I'm interested to see what NASCAR does with that Chase Elliott deal. You know he's going to get a waiver, um, but I mean he's going to have to. I mean he's going to have to win. I mean I don't think I don't know if you're in his position. I mean depending on when he comes back, do you take it
The
if
waiver?
you're him? Yeah,
Yeah, because he's easily going to win a race. And you don't have to be in the top 30 or anything, and he would easily do that anyway. He'll probably point his way in.
yeah. I mean
It's possible.
I don't know. That just
You can, I mean, I guess he does need to start accumulating some points, but I've said this forever. You can literally run around 30th place until the All Star break or the race at the Coke 600, and you'll be fine. Kurt Busch did it a couple of years ago. Dude was like 29th, 30th in points in the Ganassi car, and he ended up making the playoffs with relative ease. Um,
that's my thing. There, do you think Chase is back by then, or do you think he's able to come
oh
back
yeah,
by then?
he'll be back.
I hope so. He Chase is growing on me. I still don't like Chase Elliott Nation, whatever you want to call him, the world. Not a big fan, but Chase as a driver and a personality is starting to grow on me. Since he's gotten hurt, I feel like he's shown more personality in these past 2-3 weeks than he has his whole career. Outside what he's with Harvick and Hamlin a few years back in Martinsville. But yeah, I'm not getting back to Dakota. I'm not overly optimistic on these road course ringers. I feel like it's just going to be. I feel like it'll be a better race in terms of with no stage cautions. But I still think it's just going to be an average NASCAR road course. In all honesty, I'll tell you what I am excited about in terms of road courses / street courses is the drama that's hanging in Chicago with NASCAR street course.
Yeah.
Could you imagine if that somehow gets canceled? What else would go into that? And obviously, this is all speculation, but with Miss Lori having her, we'll call them issues in terms of office, what
Right.
all could possibly happen with that, and
Right.
how chaotic that could be.
It could be extremely chaotic.
But yeah, personally, I just think it's going to be another road course. I don't think Dakota is necessarily designed for stock cars or these cup cars or really anything that NASCAR races for that matter. It's a Formula One track and it'll always be a Formula One track. I don't watch Formula One for NASCAR style racing. I don't watch NASCAR for Formula One style racing. I think we should go back to the old way of doing things. Watkins Glen, Sonoma, and hell, Sprint Road America. I know it's a freaking long race because of cautions, but we don't need road courses every other week. And that feels like we haven't had them yet, but I feel like that's what it's going to feel like coming up here soon when we start getting to the summer stretch. But that's just me kind of rambling a little bit. Um, in terms of predictions, what are you feeling? I mean, the truck race is going to be absolute chaos. I'm going to pick a Kyle Busch win. Um, won there last year. What are you thinking in terms of trucks?
So my three drivers I'm going to play in trucks are going to predict. I don't know. I feel like there's going to be some cup guys in it that we don't know. But I guess to stay with how we've been doing this, my three that I'm going to say. So Kyle is in the field.
Yes.
I'm assuming Chastain's in the field.
Cannot confirm. Let me pull up the entry list real quick. Looking for it. Looking for it. Hey, can you pull it up? I'm too wide with some 18 wheelers right now.
Sure. Not released yet.
Um,
So my three are I'm going to assume Chastain's in the race because he's going to run 5 races and this is normally one that they run. So I'm going to go with Kyle. I'm going to go with Ross, and I'm going to go with Ben Rhodes as my three.
I'm gonna say the same. That's definitely a good three, and not much excitement to it. Um, but yeah, I feel like that's pretty much it in terms of the big three. I mean, I feel like it's going to be a stinker of a show in terms of
Yes, I
excitement.
agree.
But yeah, on Xfinity, what are you feeling in terms of the Xfinity front?
Um, this one definitely more depends on who is in the field, and I don't know who's in the field, but I'll give you three guys that I'm going to watch. I'm not predicting them to finish top three this time because There's just too much riding on it. So I'm going to um I'm going to assume Chastain's running again in a DGM car. Just the cars that Josh Williams drives for and everything. Mario Goslin owns it, so I'm gonna watch him. He's gonna carry that car to a good finish, provided that he drives. I'm gonna watch Preston Pardus, who son of Dan Pardus. He's not going to win, but he may get a top 10. I think they're driving for themselves or something weird, but pretty good road course driver. So I want to watch him. And then I think for my third, I'm going to go with whoever's in the Joe Gibbs 19 car. That's who I'm going to watch there as well.
All right, that's fair. I'm going to agree with you on number one on Ross, and not necessarily in order. Ross is definitely a threat anytime he comes down, like a Kyle Busch or anybody else, any of the Cup regulars come down. I'm interested in Ed. I mean, the other two are going to be constant. Pretty much, in terms of the rest of the year for the Xfinity Series. Austin Hill, I want to see how legit he is at these road courses. If he is a complete package
Mm-hmm.
in terms of super speedways, intermediates, road courses, and short tracks. We got two of those knocked off already. In terms of being a complete package, I think it's going to be interesting to see how he handles the road course and if he can break out a good result or even a win. I think this will tell a lot about him and his overall talent. Definitely a talented driver. But it's going to say a lot about what his success this year, long-term success this year, I feel like. And also, I'm going to watch John Hunter. I feel like John Hunter Nemechek's definitely going to be one to watch. Not the greatest road course racer out there, but it'll be interesting to see how he is in a Gibbs car full time and see how he develops. I feel like he's going to be one to watch as well. And honestly, I mean, you can throw any of the junior cars in there, I mean, with how good they are, but those are going to be my three.
Ah,
How about the
gotcha.
Cup Series?
Okay, so Jenson Button, Kimi Räikkönen, and Jordan Taylor. That's my three to watch. My three to win the race. We're gonna go with Larson. We're gonna go with Chris Buescher. That's a little sideways there, I know, but he was really good at Sonoma, so we'll see again. As I think RFK stepped up across the board, I'm interested to see. I think he'll have a good run, and I think we're also going to go with Daniel Suarez, who probably should have won this race last year.
I like two of those. I like Suarez and I like Larson. That third could be interesting. I don't think he's going to three-peat by any means. Ross could be interesting to watch. Um, Tyler Reddick could be interesting. I mean, there's a lot of guys that are interesting. Chase being out of this thing kind of blows this thing wide open, in all honesty. Like I
Yes.
said, I'm not sitting here saying I'm happy that he's out, but it's one of those things where it makes a whole nother, like, huh. It's like, Ty Gibbs being out of the Xfinity Series now. It's kind of like things are wide open. I mean, even Denny Hamlin, um, Larson, Chastain, and I'm gonna say Hamlin. Denny Hamlin will be my three. Not expecting the miracle by any means like Hamlin front, but he always seems to be there at the road courses. He doesn't have the greatest record in terms of finishing them up, but he definitely could be one to watch. Um, but yeah, I feel like it's not going to be the most exciting weekend ever at Coda next weekend, but it's going to be a get us over the hump weekend. Well, I mean Richmond follows, so that probably won't be a Daytona or Talladega by any means either. Um, but yeah, anything else?
Nope. I think we pretty much covered it all today.
Yeah. Um, Yeah, next couple weeks going to be interesting. Coda and Richmond, it probably won't be the greatest racing in the world. I mean, I'm kind of interested to see how Richmond goes in terms of this new short track package on an actual short track, and we'll see. I think Richmond will tell us a lot in terms of excitement. I mean, if Richmond can put on an exciting race, I feel like we're going to be okay in terms of the short track package. But it'll be interesting to see what all happens. But between the no caution stage breaks there at Coda and the new short, I feel like it's going to be could be interesting, but at the same time could not be. I'm not. My hopes aren't through the roof, but optimistic at least would be the right thing to say.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm excited for it, so we'll see how it plays out. Um, uh, I'm trying to. I guess there's a big kind of a controversy on who finished second today. I was just reading about, so we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, I'm not even aware of that. I've been on the road for the past
Well,
4 hours.
timing and scoring says that Keselowski finished second, but I guess photographic evidence has been provided to prove that Bell actually finished ahead of. So I don't know.
Huh. Well,
But
that'll be
anyway,
interesting to see.
yes, we'll see you
Well,
guys
guys,
back after Coda.
yep. Stay tuned in the coming days for some pretty cool things coming up. I think you guys are gonna like this. So we'll talk to you guys soon. Y'all have a great week. We'll see you next time.
See ya.